Hello everybody, it's Marco here. I'm the chef at the house of the Deputy Chief of Mission. Tonight we're going to prepare a pizza all together, okay? So we start with the dough. We don't use a full packet, okay? Let's start with a small quantity that it will be much easier for you and for me also. So, pizza, we will do a pizza like you can do it in a house where you don't have a pizza oven that can reach up to 400 degrees Celsius. But with our 220 probably, or 240 or 50 that you can have in the house, okay? So I'm gonna use like 400 grams of flour. I have 470, so I want to use a little bit more here for later. And what is important to know the weight of the perfect, okay? It's important because you need to add between 60 and 70% of water. So I have 400 grams of flour, so I'm gonna use roughly 250 milligrams, let's say, between 60 and 70%. The water has to be lukewarm. Use your fingers, never wrong. If you prefer, you can use something more professional, but it doesn't matter. With your hand, usually it's okay. 33 degrees. 35, but then it will go down a little bit. Then, if you're lucky enough to find fresh yeast, you can use like half of the cubes or a bit less than half of this, 12 grams, so they're probably 5 grams. And you put it straight in the water, like that. Then you activate the yeast. Somebody say to make it faster, you can use a bit of sugar, but I prefer not to. When all the yeast is dissolved, you don't have to wait too much. Just go with the flour. Yeah, like that. You want to start like a bit more, like half. The dough can rest and ferment for a minimum of 2 hours. That is absolutely minimum, but it's better to wait much longer. Up to 3-4 hours outside the fridge, and then you can keep it up to 1 week well covered inside the fridge. You can even make a bigger quantity, keep it in the fridge, and then use it to make one day one focaccia, one day one pizza, one day bread, something like that. Today we start with the most classic pizza, most famous also, Margherita. Pizza Margherita was invented in Napoli in 18 something to celebrate the visit of the queen called Margherita, of course. At a certain point, it's better if you use your hand. And you do this for a couple of minutes, but not that much long. Doesn't have to be perfect. And you give it 2 hours minimum outside the fridge, if you remember, and then as long as you like, up to 1 week inside the fridge. If you give it a long time, you have to put it out of the fridge to reach again room temperature. It will take at least 2 hours. Dough is ready. The dough doesn't like, the fermentation doesn't like at all the wind or change of temperature. So you cover it with a wet towel, tea towel, and you leave it there a couple of hours, as we said, in a corner with no wind. A little bit of olive oil can go now in, and a little bit of salt, because the salt is a bit enemy of the yeast, so you don't put it at the beginning, you put it later. Okay, now we're going to prepare 3 different balls, it's called in this case. And then we will talk about ingredients. So you work the dough for a couple of minutes. No, there's not necessarily much more. Then we said with this 400 grams of flour, I want to make 3 pizza, 3 people tonight here. So roughly, you can use the scale if you want, but it's not absolutely necessary. You give it a shape like, again like that. And then one. Okay, so now we have prepared the individual doses. We cover it and we give it a minute, we give it 10-20 minutes more. Meanwhile, we can prepare the ingredients. So the classic for margherita is the tomato, of course. I just put a little bit of oregano inside to give it a bit of a taste. Mozzarella. It's winter, so instead of the fresh basil, we will use some pesto on the top of that, yeah? And this would be enough for a margherita. At the end, you just add a little bit of olive oil. But, of course, as you know, there are like thousands of different pizza. Tonight I put some tuna, onion, mushroom, rucola. Rucola, of course, when it's finished, out of the oven, and then you wilt a little bit. Olives, gorgonzola, salo, no salo. So the oven reached the maximum temperature. Now it's ready. I'm ready also. So I use the first one. So start from the center. First like that. Then you can try to do something like that. Actually, turn and always give it a bit more of flour in case, to avoid to get stuck on the marble. If you want to try to be acrobatic and stuff like that, I don't. But it helps to stretch a bit more. Because we try to make it quite thin, yeah? It's almost there. If you break it, you make a little hole, don't worry. Just do like that. And so this is probably what I want, yeah? Quite thin. You have an idea, yeah? You can try to give it a sort of a shape. Then, because we don't have a proper oven pizzeria style, in that case you go on the spade and you put it in, you shovel it in the oven. Then we do it this other way. So, first ingredient is always the tomato sauce, possibly with a bigger spoon, but you put all of it in the middle, and then you do like that. Mozzarella, cherry, anything you like, no problem. The pesto, and this would be a classic margherita, yeah? But we like to make it a bit richer, so we put some quite thin cut mushroom, a bit of onion we will put on the top, rucola later, and a bit of gorgo, just because we love it. Just a little bit like that, no more. And this can go straight in the oven. In the middle, ventilated. Sorry, what is this? This pizza will stay probably in the oven around 10 minutes. In a pizzeria, it's less than 2 and 3 minutes maximum, depending on the oven. But at 220 ventilated or 250 not ventilated, it's probably going to take 10 minutes. We have a look because we see the change of color of the crust. When it started to be a bit golden color, then it's perfect time. So remember, never open the door of the oven when something is cooking so quickly, especially like the pizza is doing very well. The crust, it's growing perfectly, I say. Cheese is melting, probably another 4 or 5 minutes should be done. Let's see. Looks good. This video, and good luck to your experiment. Next time you do it, let us know on the email that will be attached somewhere. Thank you very much. Bye bye.